FCS CheckDown. Yeah, baby, here we go. So excited to be here after week number 1. Nathan McCreary, Coach Ron Jackson, and a super special guest, Gardner Webb head coach Cris Reisert, joining us here to start the show. A huge win for your program, Coach. I really just want to bring you in here and love on you a little bit because you were hired last year. We were super excited about you coming into the program, into the Big South OVC conference. Didn't get a chance to talk to you, and here in week 1, you're making noise, so we had to reach out and bring you on. Thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations on a big win this weekend.
No, it's awesome to be here, guys. Thank you for having me, and what you do for FCS football I think is amazing. And so to get a chance to highlight Gardner Webb and some of the cool things that are happening, we really just appreciate the platform. And yeah, we're excited after week 1, and it was a neat evening on Saturday night.
So, Coach, tell me about, let's go back to last year. You're hired. There's some big change happening there. What was the first thing when you got there on campus? What was the first thing you said? All right, I've got to do this to take the first step in meeting my first set of goals.
Yeah, it was a little unique. When we got there, we had under 40 guys on the roster. And so we had a really small amount of players that we had inherited. We had one returning starter, which was our kicker. And so it was a different set of circumstances than I was used to. And so the first thing for us was really putting together a roster, and being able to build it for the short term, because you want to have some success in year 1. But more importantly for us, we want longevity and sustainability as a program at Gardner Webb. And so trying to create a roster that had growth potential as well. And I think what you're seeing now is a lot of the guys that came in last year and got to get settled and got to get more comfortable in our system and in our schemes. Now they're starting to have a little bit more success in year 2 and hopefully playing better football.
Coach, I'll let Coach Jackson jump in here as it's a huge start to the season, and Coach, I got two coaches here. Coach Jackson, I know you're going to talk about the selling point there at Gardner Webb. I'll let you ask your question, then we're going to kind of get into the football game this weekend.
Yeah, because I do have something I did want to ask about the game, but I've been out to Gardner Webb before, and it's it's kind of unique to get there. It's in a unique place. But what I noticed, man, let me tell you, the fans that they have, tremendous fan support, best I remember. Yeah. So I ask everybody, Coach, when they come on the show, I played at Western Kentucky, and believe it or not, I was a tight end, pretty decent and everything. And I didn't graduate, so I still got 2 years of eligibility.
Hey, I got space. I can take you at any time, Coach.
If you want somebody like me, talk me into it. Sell it to me.
Well, I'll tell you about Gardner Webb in general. One, I tell people all the time, I think we're a hidden gem. We're about 45 minutes outside of Charlotte. It is a beautiful, beautiful campus in the sense of you have enough space to be able to walk around and be free and have that college atmosphere, but it's connected enough to where you're going to have great relationships and opportunity to get a really, really unbelievable education and do it around people that love you and care for you. The other thing that's unique about Gardner Webb is we're a faith-based university. And so being able to wear your faith on your sleeve and grow in your walk with Christ is really, really important for us. And one of the things that we highlight as a football program, we want our guys to develop off the field just as much as we want them to on the field. So our goal is that guys come in and they leave a much better version of themselves as men, as football players, and certainly as men of faith. And I think that allows them to have success, whether it's football success, academic success. We just want them to be able to fulfill their fullest potential. And I think our campus and the structure and the way that we kind of do our daily business allows guys to grow and do those things.
Well, Coach, let's talk about this weekend. You went in Western Carolina, a very, very difficult place to play. Did you have certain goals going into this weekend that you wanted to meet besides win the football game, obviously, for your team coming out of camps? There's always many questions. Did you have questions going into the game, and did you see what you wanted to see from your football program?
Yeah, I think we talk about win the battles, win the war, and so there's always things that you're gonna kind of focus on, in a week one. I think week one you really highlight a few things in particular. You got to look at tackling, you got to look at penalties, and you got to make sure you're playing a clean football game in that regard. And then for us, it was the ability to win in the fourth quarter. Last year in year one we really struggled. We were in a lot of close football games and just couldn't put the foot on the gas pedal and finish guys. And so really that's something we worked on all offseason to be able to stay in games and then get into the fourth quarter and win them. And so certainly in the beginning of the game, being down 35-7, there's a lot you wish you had back. There's a lot of we call Kaizen, continuous improvement, that we're going to have from that first half of football. But being able to win 24-3 in the fourth quarter and being able to, I think, show poise and show togetherness and show grit as a football team and to finish, man, I was really proud of that.
Well, Coach, it was a 52-45 win for your football program, and coming out of that, you get some national awards. Nate Hampton, your quarterback, accounted for 395 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 2 passing, and Gardner Webb's win. Just kind of talk about that young man.
Yeah, no, he's a stud, and he never wavered, just like the rest of our guys. There was never panic. It was just a look in his eye, let's go to work. It was an interesting story. Both his mom and dad graduated from Western Carolina. So dad was a football player. Mom was a basketball player. And so it meant a lot to him. He grew up, played at Davie County High School, which is not too far from Western Carolina. And so he had 40 family members there. I mean, it was a big game for him personally, him and his wife, Madison. And so I was just really happy for him. He showed such resolve and did a tremendous job. And he'd be the first, if he were here, he would tell you, one, God gets the glory, and he would mean that. And two, he would tell you his teammates did everything in their power to put him in a position to be successful. And so, and I echo that. But really cool night for Nate. Cool story. His best football's ahead of him. That's the first game he started in 4 years. And so, I think you're going to see a lot of growth for him as we head into the latter part of our schedule as well.
You also had on the defensive side Jamari Young for Gardner Webb, 11 tackles, a sack, forced fumble, a pivotal strip there in Gardner Webb's road win. Talk about that young man and kind of just your defense as a whole. Obviously, putting up 45 points isn't ideal, but that's a good football program over there at Western Carolina. They know they've run that. They try to push the ball downfield. Just kind of talk about Young and how you thought the defense did this weekend.
Yeah, I think with Jamari, I'm so proud of him. He's come such a long way. He was with us last year and had just kind of gotten his feet wet, started to play really good football towards the tail end of last season, had an amazing offseason, and you saw him really make some splash plays. He's so consistent, he's so reliable, and we've been waiting for him to kind of take that next jump to be a difference maker. And you saw that on Saturday night in some of the production that he had. So it was really cool to see the work that he's put in behind the scenes come out. And I think that to be rewarded as a conference player of the week is just a neat honor for him, and one that I know he'll really take a lot of pride in. The defense as a whole, I think that's a loaded question because offensively we didn't put him in a lot of great situations in the first half. You give up 35 points. Nobody feels good about that. Nobody's going to write home about that. We're not excited about that, but I think that's a bit of a lopsided number as you really go back and reflect on the flow of the game and whether it was a poor decision by me or our offense putting us in a negative situation. I think that aided that. What I was most proud of our defense was, in the second half, we gave up 10 points and we got stops when we needed to get stops. And I look at a defense in today's day and age in college football, the offense is going to have an advantage in a lot of ways. And it comes down to getting stops when the game's on the line and stops at pivotal moments. And our defense did that. They showed poise, they showed resolve. And when they needed to buckle down, they did and found a way to either create takeaways or get off the football field and get the offense the ball back.
Well, Coach, you have a big contest coming up this weekend. What did you learn from your team that maybe you didn't know about coming out of the camps and as you're facing an FBS opponent, ACC opponent in Georgia Tech?
No, I think I knew this, but we're a tough group. We're a committed group. We're a confident group. Our guys, when I tell you there was no panic, there was no panic. and I'm really, really proud of that. I don't think you can say enough about that. We have so much work to do. We have so much to get better at. I could go on and on and on and on, but the heart and the spirit and the togetherness that they played with, that's something that we're really, really excited about. And so we've got to go and fix and improve in a lot of areas, and we will. And that's our job as a coaching staff, and our guys are hungry to improve and to get better. And so I'm most excited about the growth that we're going to be able to achieve from week 1 to week 2, mostly just having a great week of practice and learning from week 1 mistakes, and then hopefully having an opportunity to play a cleaner, more complete football game against Georgia Tech in week 2.
Well, Coach, Coach Jackson, I'm going to turn it to you and let you ask a question before we kind of wrap this thing up here. And go ahead, Coach Jackson.
Well, I want Coach Cris to bring me back to the ball game. I've been on a team that was down big at halftime, and maybe we hadn't played our best ball or anything like that. And I've had one coach that kind of peeled the paint off the proverbial walls, and then I've had coaches that came in with a different kind of attitude. So I want to ask, and don't let me get you in no trouble or anything like that, but when you go in at halftime, what's your approach in that particular situation?
Well, we were down 35-7 and went into half at 35-21. And so the momentum really had shifted, and we had started to kind of settle in and play better football. And, I'll share it. My message to the team was, I think we all know that the first 20 minutes was completely unacceptable, and but we can't change it now. And so we talked all week about, being present and being where our feet are, and God's going to handle the rest. And said, look, here's where we're at. We're not happy with the way we played, but can't change it now. And we'll learn from it after this game. But for now, let's go win a football game. And that's what we did. And I think that was what the focus was. And you can be angry and frustrated, and we were, but at the same time, clock hadn't hit 0 yet. So let's keep battling. Let's keep fighting. And I believe in you. You believe in me. Let's go to war. And so we found a way to get it done.
Coach, where's your passion for football come from? Did you grow up in a football family? Was your father a coach?
No. I love football growing up playing. But I thought when I was in college I'd go sell something or manage something, or I didn't know any better. And I had a football camp. Prior all the quarterback gurus and all that stuff you see now. I played NAI football at a place called Ohio Dominican University. I was a quarterback there, and we started the program in 2004, and I came in 2005, and really, really proud to be a part of a startup and having a chance to shape that program. But one of the things that I did while I was in college, my summer job was I had a thing called the Next Generation Passing Camp, and it was me and some high school buddies, and we trained kids grades 4 through 8 for the summer. And it was at that point that I got to see how gratifying it was to not only help kids, grow football wise, but just to watch them mature, to watch them gain confidence. I had a kid, his mom and dad never picked him up on time. And I'd always sit there and wait with them. And it's like, you started to see the need where it's like, all right, cool. This is maybe what I'm put on earth to do. And I felt like God's called me to be a football coach. And so it was right around then I kept doing that camp, but then I kind of knew that this is the path I wanted to go on. And so past been a little different, not playing Division I football, or not maybe having a ton of connections within my family, and just try to work hard and treat people the right way, and take advantage of opportunities that God put in front of me. And so it's cool to be at Gardner Webb and be a part of what we're doing now. So it's funny, full circle, now we have a mega camp here at Gardner Webb, and it's a really cool event, and we use it to highlight all the local kids. We're in Cleveland County, which is a great area for high school football. And so we do this mega camp. And so I had an LLC for the mega camp, like all the coaches do, right? And it's called the Cris Reisert Next Generation Football Camp. And so we're able to bring that full circle. I get mad at myself every time I have to write a check. But other than that, I'm super proud to have the same name. And it's a pretty cool full circle moment for me to get to do that.
By the way, NAIA National Player of the Year there at Ohio Dominican, and a Hall of Famer there at Ohio Dominican as well, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I played with some really good players. Had a great coach, Coach Carlson and Coach Oliver, and played with some dudes up front and on the perimeter, and we had a lot of fun. We still, it's fun to think about, those days, and we talk about it a lot as coaches. It's coaches still like to live their old glory days privately,
Right.
and but it was cool.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, you are receiving votes now in the top 25. We're going to kind of talk about, me and Coach Jackson going to talk about the top 25 because you have teams like Mercer, who obviously had a game canceled and then a really bad loss, and then Sacramento State didn't really show up, but they're still in the thing, and teams like you who had quality FCS wins just receiving votes. What's your thoughts on these? Do they matter at this point in the season as far as a head coach goes?
I think anytime you get mentioned in that conversation, I think it's a neat thing for your program, and I think it's a neat thing, for your fans and your constituents and the brand of your university. So I think it definitely does matter, and for us, we try and be proud internally of what we're accomplishing and the work that we're putting in, and proud of each other for how hard we're working, and how much I think respect we're generating and garnering for each other. But we try not to have too much pride about the external stuff that's coming in because you can't control it. And our job is just to kind of settle in and worry about our own work and worry about our own building and the group that we have. And so that's really been our focus. But I think it's neat. And anytime you get mentioned, it's awesome. Like to be able to do this podcast with you guys and talk about Gardner Webb and highlight our players, that matters a great deal. And so we don't want to shortchange it by any stretch. But I tell you that our focus is on tomorrow's practice and making sure we have an elite Tuesday practice that's really, really physical.
Well, Coach, it's a player we're going to watch as Nate Hampton as the season continues. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your SID putting this together really short notice. We're really proud of you, proud of the program, excited to see what you guys do the rest of this year, and hopefully you get a chance to talk to you later on in the year.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So cool to be here.
All right, that is Coach Reisert of Gardner Webb. Congratulations, Coach, on the win. We'll talk to you soon. All right, Coach Jackson, that's a big win for the program there. Western Carolina over. I didn't tell him that we all picked Western Carolina.
He probably knew.
We didn't.
I bet he knew.
Yeah, he might have known because their SID was like, hey, send me a little bit about your program. And I sent him the link, and I was like, man, maybe I should send him this other link to talk about something else. But let's go ahead and talk about that football game real quickly since we already kind of cracked the ribbon on it. Gardner Webb, it was the largest comeback in program history, rallying from 28-point deficit to stun the number 19 Western Carolina team. Nate Hampton accounted for 6 total touchdowns, throwing for 263 yards, running for 130 more. Wide receivers Chris Lofton and Anthony Lowe both posted 100-yard games, while running back Keyshawn Holmes had 116 yards and a score. Defensively, Jamar Young, who was named the Big South OVC Defensive Player of the Week, had 11 tackles. The defensive back Josiah Harris sealed the game with a late interception. The Runnin Bulldogs racked up 631 yards of total offense and a high-octane offensive play, Coach. Very, very fun to see. A bit of a surprise, to be honest with you. Just your thoughts on that.
Well, the Runnin Bulldogs, not only did they run for 300 yards, they threw it for 300 yards too. They were very, very evenly balanced in that particular game. It's a fantastic win for them. That I think that puts Coach Bell 0-2 versus Gardner Webb. I called it the ooh-wee in color-wee because
you should have broke that out, Coach.
They fan base is hot. It's 16 pages of nothing but pure vitriol right now. But, listen, sometimes you catch a shark, sometimes the shark catches you. Gardner Webb came in and played it. And like what Coach said, they didn't panic. They got down big and literally walked them down and walked them right off. That's a huge win in front of a pretty good sized crowd too. I think they had 12,000 people at that ball game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And literally to come in there and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, man, it's got to sting in the wee.
Yeah, it does. And we've talked about their head coach. He's known for his offensive prowess, and coming from having some time at Valdosta State. His name's escaping me now. The head coach there at Western Carolina is Kerwin Bell. Thank you so much. And he's known for his offensive prowess. That's the whole his reason he's brought there. Now, he put up 45 points, gave up 52. Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a real problem.
A problem. All right, Coach, let's go ahead and go through some of these football games that we had this week. We'll start here with Dayton and Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois opened up the season with a powerful rushing performance, piling up 320 yards on the ground to earn a 24-14 victory over the Flyers. And quarterback Cole LaCrue led the way with a program record 193 yards rushing by quarterback, breaking Jaylee Whitlow's 2015 mark. And running back Charles Kellum completed the effort with 133 yards, giving EIU two 100-yard rushers on the night. LaCrue's dual threat ability sparked the Panthers, who controlled possession and tempo throughout the night. The win gave EIU momentum in this early 2025 campaign. I can't say that we're all surprised about this one, Coach Jackson, but big win for Eastern Illinois. And I know John Gruden was there. He played at Dayton, but he was on the sideline of the Panthers. He came out and flipped the coin with him. That was a little bit of a, I don't know how to feel about that if I were a Dayton fan.
I think he's got some connection with Eastern Illinois too.
Must.
Possession time 2-1 basically is what's going to win that particular ball game. And Eastern Illinois absolutely shut out the running game of Dayton, which completely takes them out of the ball game. Yeah. Now, with a possession time of 2-1. You can't turn the ball over. If they don't turn the ball over twice, that game turns into be the game that Mercer wishes that it was in.
We'll talk about that one a little bit later, Coach.
Yeah. That's what they wish that they. That's what game they wish that they were in. But nothing away from Eastern Illinois. If you hold a team 31 yards rushing, you've gotten it done in the trenches.
Yeah, you sure have, and they did an excellent job. Up next, we've got Lindenwood and St. Thomas, rather. This was a 35-14 win for the Tommies. It was a statement win for this program. They're not only avenging a 64-0 loss last year to Lindenwood, they also make history. It's their first victory over a Division I scholarship opponent. 5 different Tommies scored touchdowns in a balanced offense showcase, marking the most well-rounded season opener in their Division I era. Head coach Glenn Caruso's squad showed growth across all areas, flipping the script on the 2024's defeat with strong quarterback play, opportunistic defense, and depth at all skills position. It sets the tone again for the Tommies as quarterback Andy Peters, 2 touchdowns, and running back Joseph Koch with 154 yards on the ground. Nate Glantz for Lindenwood had 318 yards passing. That should be yards. And 1 touchdown. Listen, we always knew the Tommies were a very, very good quality football program. Kind of fell off last year. That transition, you start seeing some different things scholarship-wise. But good win against the Lindenwood team that was receiving votes in the top 25. So a good win for the Tommies.
Oh yeah, Lindenwood's come along a little way since their transition, and I sent Brandon a text over the weekend, and he just simply responded back, "It's Tommy time."
Yeah, he did. He loves the Tommies. He loves the Tommies.
Hey, and God bless them. They're a fun group to watch. I know that.
Yeah, they certainly are. All right, up next, another fun group to watch. How about this? West Georgia, 34-3. West Georgia's transition to Division I football continues to be successful. It was a dominating performance. The Wolves stifled Samford 34-3 in Homewood, Alabama. The defense forced multiple turnovers, limited Samford to just 271 yards, kept the Bulldogs out of the end zone for the first time since 2011, Coach. Special teams provided a spark with DeAndre Buchanan returning a kickoff 92 yards for a touchdown, while defensive lineman David Hogues strip sack led to a scoop and score by by Jeffrey Spite. Offensively, West Georgia produced 411 yards in a balanced attack. The win marked the Wolves' 13th straight season opener victory and a promising start here in 2025. We got a chance to talk to the head coach over there at West Georgia, and Coach Taylor's got that team playing well here in week number 1. West Georgia Wolves over Samford. Coach, I think that was a huge win for that program.
It is. It puts Coach Hatcher kind of on the uncomfortable seat.
I'll say
there in Alabama. But let me tell you, West Georgia's a sleeping giant. They one of their little freshman running backs is Tim Lester's son, who's going to be a phenomenal ball player. They're in a fantastic location. They've got good finances. They've got a good coach. They're a team that's going to jump up and surprise a lot of folks, and they're going to be good for a while. Anytime you hold somebody, like I said, under what they hold them to 24, 25 yards rushing,
24 yards rushing, yeah.
And think about how far Samford's fallen since Michael Hires was playing quarterback there just a couple of years ago. It's awful concerning. It's a great win for West Georgia. It's a concerning situation to be if you're a Samford fan.
Now, defense, special teams played a huge part in this win for West Georgia. They got to get their offense started, Coach. Devin Widener, who we watched last year, really take a big step. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, can't turn the ball over. Latrell Murrell did have 129 yards on the ground. Their wide receiver, Owen Dupree, watch that young man, 7 receptions for 71 yards. They've got to get that off. The quarterback position has got to be solidified there, and we have all the faith in the world in Devin Widener for we saw what he could do. Sophomore slump, we'll see. But Quincy Crichton, 22 for 29, 154 yards. Coach, their rushing game, 0.9 yards per carry. That ain't going to get it done. 24 yards on the ground. That ain't going to. One-dimensional football teams don't win many football games.
Yeah, and one-dimensional football teams with coaches don't hang around. And again, I'm not trying to be ultra negative or anything like that, but that's hard to watch.
Yeah, I think Chris Hatcher's seat is volcanic.
On fire.
Yeah, I think it's volcanic. All right, up next, very cool storyline here. Northwestern State. Remember, they had canceled games a couple years ago. They had all kind of stuff going on, some violence on the team, and it was all craziness. Northwestern snapped a 20-game losing streak, 20-10 over Alcorn State with a gritty performance. The Demons, who hadn't won since November of 2022, capitalized on 3 first-half takeaways, including 2 end-zone interceptions. Despite a lightning delay that stalled momentum, Northwestern State responded with a clutch fourth-quarter drive capped by a 1-yard touchdown run by Captain Ryan Taylor. Defensive back Christian Williams and Caden McKay highlighted with interceptions. The offense leaned on a physical line play late to secure the win. The victory marked the Demons' first season opening triumph since 2013 and a huge turning point for second-year coach Blaine McCorkle. Coach Jackson, listen, everyone loves an underdog story. This is an underdog story. It's a big win for this program. Very, very happy for Northwestern State.
Yeah, it's their first win in a couple of years, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe
It's
they
2022, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that shows you I went to Gladeville Elementary, so my math's not going to be all that great. But listen, for those kids to come out there and keep fighting. I hate they got it done against my Alcorn Braves, but listen, if you're not going to run the ball any better than Alcorn did, and if you're not going to throw the ball any better than Alcorn did, you ain't going to score about 10 points. And congratulations to Northwestern State. Congratulations to that whole situation. Like you said,
Yeah.
they were close to probably maybe even having
Wrapping it
to
up.
make some decisions with their
Yeah.
football team a couple of years ago. For them to continue to fight, man, I look forward to the next one they play.
Yeah, Abram Johnston is their quarterback. By the way, he had 82 yards rushing, and it was a big play for Alcorn. Orlando McLaren had a 72-yard interception return for the Braves. All right,
4 turnovers.
Yeah, that can't happen. That
Yep.
can't happen. All right, nationally televised game. Hey, this one was awesome to watch. It was not a victory for Alabama State, but they put together a very, very competitive match against UAB, Trent Dilfer's UAB squad. Alabama State pushed FBS opponent to the limit in that 52-42 shootout powered by quarterback Andrew Body's electrifying dual-threat offense. Body passed for 312 yards and 4 touchdowns while rushing for 119 yards and 60-yard score, nearly willing the Hornets to an upset. Wide receiver, I texted you this. Hey, number 7, Alabama State, Jalen Jones erupted for 174 yards and a touchdown, while Ajay Harrell and Asa Gregg and Dylan DeJet also found the end zone for Alabama State. The Hornets converted 13 of 15 third downs. That goes a long way of keeping drives alive. They held the ball for nearly 34 minutes, showcasing efficiency and explosiveness against a big FCS opponent. Despite the loss, the performance marks a highlight for Alabama State, and you might want to start looking out for ASU. They are a competitive football team, and congratulations to them on a good performance on national television, Coach.
Dude, over 500 yards of rushing. I know the Honeybees had the wings flapping on Saturday. I wish I could. I wish I could have been there. And you know what? We might as well go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. The Saturday was a good day for the FCS in general, especially competing against your FBS teams.
Yeah.
I think we had a couple of scalps that they took off, and the Honeybees almost got them one Saturday. That's the best game that I've seen them play in a couple of years. And literally,
a good quarterback helps, doesn't it? Andrew Body is a name we will be calling all season long. You know, he's a good one. He looks so comfortable. He's just an athlete in the backfield, and it makes things happen. Very fun to watch.
Yeah, and a game of big plays. I didn't get a chance to see it, but all the highlights that I saw, just a game of big plays. And literally, they had Birmingham on the ropes for a while. I think they were leading on into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they had late into the third quarter. I think once they got the fourth, it kind of separated a little bit. But I think that was late in the third quarter they held a lead, and it kind of was back and forth there. Well, you mentioned how well the FCS played. Here it is. Tarleton State upsetting Army in double overtime. They scored one of the most significant wins in school history, stunning Army 30-27 at Mitchie Stadium. Kicker Brad Larson was the hero, drilling a 37-yard game winner after previously tying the contest with a 28-yarder in overtime. The Texans rallied from a 14-point third quarter deficit thanks to a gritty defensive effort that forced 3 turnovers, including 2 interceptions by Cassius Kearns. Gosh, I hope I'm saying that young man's name right. Quarterback Victor Gabalis connected with Dawson Hearn for a game-tying score in the fourth quarter, while running back Trey Page III added a touchdown on the ground. The victory marked Tarleton's first ever road win over an FBS opponent and cemented head coach Todd Witten's program as one to watch. But we already knew that, didn't we, Coach? Tarleton State picking up the FBS win. That's a big-time win there for Tarleton State, the UAC, and the FCS.
If you got 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery, I believe his name is Cassius.
Cassius, thank you.
I believe that's how he pronounces it.
It's
if I'm wrong.
K-A-S-Y-U-S. We just have to have him on the show.
I believe it's Cassius. But you know what? The way to overcome that time of possession is to come up with turnovers, and that's what Tarleton did. What Tarleton did is they prepared for Army's offense. I didn't think that they would be able to get that done in a week. And the other thing it shows you is Army's tough. They're tough in the trenches, and they're a gritty team. So is Tarleton to stand in there and just go blow for blow for them. It was back and forth game, and literally they won it and they deserved it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely they did. Absolutely they did. All right, let's go ahead and check out our next game. It was Campbell and Rhode Island. Rhode Island picked up the win 31-20. The number 9 team in the country survived early miscues and a 10-point deficit to down Campbell with that 31-21 win in the CAA opener. Wide receiver Marquez Buchanan shined with 167 yards and a touchdown, sparking the Rams' offense. Quarterback Devin Farrell passed for 275 yards and 2 scores, while running back Antoine Littleton Jr. Jr. added 85 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Defensively, URI tightened up in the second half, allowing just 3 points, forcing a key fumble recovery by defensive lineman Case McKins to show the world that the Rams are resilient, and that is a big win. Camden Six Killer, I totally butchered his name there on the thing for the Campbells. Remember, he came from McNeese State. Camden Six Killer is what that's supposed to say. Was 144 yards and a touchdown. Mike Chandler for the Camels, 30 yards and 1 touchdown. Again, limited rushing performance there by the Camels, and it was just too much offense for Rhode Island. That's a good football squad. And 3 turnovers, Coach. You're not going to win many football games with 3 turnovers, and the Camels could not hold on to the football.
Well, Campbell's the one that caused the turnovers, I believe. If I looked at that correctly, Rhode Island's got a good team. The Campbell offensively, dude, it's just tough to watch. About 150 yards on the ground, maybe 120 yards in the air, and it's kind of like, I don't know, running out of gas a couple of 100 yards from the gas station.
And you're right. It was Campbell with the 3 turnovers. They just couldn't do anything with it.
Right. Yeah. That's why it was as close as it was. I believe Campbell kept the ball a little bit longer than Rhode Island has, but until
31 minutes to 28 minutes, basically.
Yeah, until they get that offense where you can put a few points on the board, they just literally it's an awful tall task if you're only going to score 10, 14 points a ball game in today's college football.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. But this is the number 9 team in the country, and I think Campbell did a good job of kind of punching through and out of their class a little bit. But congratulations to Rhode Island picking up a win. All right.
Let me tell you. Hey, before you go on, Rhode Island gets 8 tackles for loss.
Wow.
Eight tackles for loss. Man, literally, you're just, it puts you behind the chains so bad. If you're an offense like Campbell that relies on being 2nd and 5, second and 3, 3rd and 1, something like that, dude, there's no answer for 2nd and 15.
Right.
All right, I'm done.
I got you. Loud and clear. 5x5. I got you. All right, up next, we're going to look at North Dakota going to Kansas State and shocking a ranked FBS opponent. This was a back-and-forth matchup. North Dakota almost pulled off the win, leading late at Kansas State before they rallied 38-35 to win in Manhattan. Freshman quarterback Jerry Kaminsky impressed in his debut, throwing 231 yards and a touchdown while adding 2 rushing scores. Running back Sawyer Seidel provided 62 yards with 2 touchdowns as well, including a fourth-quarter go-ahead score that briefly put North Dakota on top. The Fighting Hawks outpossessed K-State and controlled stretches of the game, but a late Wildcat drive sealed the contest. Despite the loss, North Dakota showcased its depth, composure, and willingness to compete against a nationally ranked opponent, Coach Jackson. Really, really happy for that North Dakota program. They lost a lot. They didn't really perform all that well last year. They came out here in the FBS. You knew it was going to be a very, very tough challenge, and they met it and almost pulled off the victory.
Tell you what, when I saw the game, and the only thing I could think of is, boy, wait till conference play starts in the Valley. It is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
If North Dakota is that good, which they certainly are, they probably should have beat Kansas State. Quite honestly, they did not back down. Think about it. Kansas State has to score with however many seconds left on the last drive to win. I'd be embarrassed to have to rush the field on a victory like that. Even though I'd count it, I guess, but I'd be embarrassed about that. The folks from North Dakota deserve a little bit of praise right now. And I know they don't get it up there too terribly much because it's taken away by their big brother most of the time. But listen, that team there is going to be a tough out. They're going to be tough when you see them on their schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, up next, it was a ranked FCS matchup between Richmond and Lehigh. And it was a good one. Lehigh earned its first season opening win since 2018, defeating number 25 Richmond 21-14 behind Jaden Green's 2 touchdowns, 88 yards rushing. Sophomore quarterback Hayden Johnson threw for 135 yards and a score, while the defense limited Richmond to just 181 total yards and 1 offensive touchdown. Linebacker Bryson Edwards led the charge with 8 tackles, and cornerback Mekhi Smith sealed the game with a late interception. The Mountain Hawks overcame 2 turnovers of their own, but showed resilience, outgaining Richmond 298-181, controlling the fourth quarter, and that was how they picked up a win. It was a very, very good contest, and Richmond was right there, but Lehigh pulls it out. Congratulations to the Mountain Hawks.
You know, between the two teams, they completed 27 passes for about 250 yards. So must have been a lot of short passes, or, you know, I don't know. It must have been a defensive battle or anything like that. I'm going to need Richmond to use all 8 of them spider legs to get a little more offense on the board. But you know what? Congratulations to Lehigh. It's a hard fought game. I believe that particular conference is going to be a hard fought conference. You know, it's a you know, it reminded me more of a mid-season game, not an opening game, because both teams, you know, literally, you know, played hard. There were very few big explosive plays.
It was a good football game. I'm going to go back and watch it and find out a little bit more about this Lehigh team, because they're ranked and they just picked up a big win against a ranked opponent. That first victory in 2018 to lead off the season, probably because they're playing those big money games. And we'll see what happens. They played a good Richmond team and picked up the win.
Are they ranked in front of Mercer? You would think one more loss and Mercer will be up in the top 4 or 5 here.
I just added the top 25 scroll. So if you want to get pissed off, just kind of take a gander at that. We'll talk about that here in a second, Coach. All right, hang on. All right, up next, we've got William and Mary and Furman. It was FU all the time. Furman rallied on special teams and defense to edge William and Mary 23-21 in Greenville. Kicker Ian Williams nailed the 3 second-half field goals, including a go-ahead strike with 2:43 left. Transfer defensive back Talon Blaylock made an immediate impact, recording 6 tackles and a pass breakup and a pick 6 on the game's opening drive. Quarterback Trey Hendon was efficient, completing 21 of 29 passes for 179 yards and a touchdown to wide receiver Evan James. The Paladins defense stepped up late, stopping William and Mary on consecutive drives to secure the win. It was a huge win for Furman over William and Mary. And again, William and Mary isn't what they used to be, but a lot of people thought they were kind of pick up the pieces. Furman says, I don't think so. And they pick up a big win against William and Mary, knocking them off here to start the season. Coach, what do you think?
Dude, I don't understand it. William and Mary and Mike dominate the stat board, but on every place except for the scoreboard.
Yeah.
That's a good win for Furman, because I was down on Furman this year, so I'm gonna have to reconsider them. And you know, it is what it is with William and Mary. They have they've gone from one of the elites to one of the you know, kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah.
It's just hard to watch. But I mean, again, they dominate every statistic, but on the scoreboard, and that's how it ends up most weekends for them.
Yeah, Mike London, the head coach, they're still trying to figure things out for the Tribe, as they are 0-1 on the season with an FCS loss. All right, a game that kind of shocked us all, Coach. It was number 8, UC Davis at Utah Tech. This was a well, that's the wrong score up there. Sorry about that. It was a 46-24 win for Cal Davis. But this game was not what you thought. Southern Utah exploded for 563 yards of offense in a 46-24 victory over Idaho State. And then, oh gosh, dang, I'm reading the wrong thing, Coach. It was, it was.
You know what?
Scratch that. Let me start over. Coach,
right.
UC Davis and Utah Tech. This was a game that you weren't supposed to even pay attention to, but it was Utah Tech that really came out and put UC Davis on the ropes. It was UC Davis having to come back again. That score is wrong. Let me get the actual score of that football game because that was not
31-24.
Thank you, Coach. 31-24. I had to hurry.
UC Davis has to score 10 points in the fourth quarter to win.
Yep.
The only thing that tells you is, I'm just telling you, Utah Tech, Utah Tech, Southern Utah, they are both incredibly tough places to go in and play.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It showed because UC Davis couldn't get anything going, and they finally had to come through. And once they got rolling, you're like, okay, this is going to be a different second half. But let me tell you, those Connor brothers are freaking unbelievable. 25 tackles between them, and it was a big comeback win. 31-24 is what the score should say up there. Number 8, UC Davis survives Utah Tech. Listen, trailing as much as 24-7, as you mentioned, in the second half, UC Davis had to pick up some quick scores. Drew Cofield, momentum-flipping interception, powered the UC Davis back into this one, and it was all the way UC Davis trying to find a way to answer. They finally do there in the second half, and that tells you a lot. This UC Davis team isn't what it was a year ago. They're replacing Miles Hastings, and you're going to have some growing pains with a new quarterback and some new pieces, and it showed. Utah Tech almost escaped with a massive victory.
Well, two things. One, I'm going to tell you, it shows what an amazing coach Tim Plow is because they made adjustments at halftime and they did come back and win. Yeah. But I wish Brandon was on us tonight. If he's listening, hope maybe he'll do a little work for me this next time. When's the last time at any level that a Tim Plow offense only scored 7 points in the first half?
I'm probably not very – well, you know what? They played Montana State last year. They probably remember that game on national television. They played Montana
outside of that game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know. That's the correct answer. But you're right. This Tim Plow team is a high-driven team offensively. So, and Miles Hastings had a lot of question marks coming into last year, and he showed up. So. Don't lose faith in your quarterback just yet. If you're UC Davis, there's going to be some growing pains, of course. But Caden Pinnock, 21 for 31, 253 yards, 3 touchdowns. Samuel Gabato Jr. with 4 receptions, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was something else. 24-7, that third quarter lead. Defensively, Utah Tech had 6 sacks. Coach, that's another area that Miles Hastings had a big offensive line and protected him. You can't be giving up sacks like that for UC Davis. Big Sky ain't gonna show any mercy. So, got to clean some stuff up, but a comeback win for UC Davis. They stay ranked, obviously, and pick up a win. But congratulations to Utah Tech for a good showing.
Yeah, if you got Davis on your schedule, I would get that Utah Tech film, and I'd watch that first half, and we'd have the same game plan going against them.
All right, I'm going to put this next game up here. Ignore the bottom half where the players are because that was obviously I ran out of time and forgot to change the thing. Okay. It was a Southern Utah exploded for 563 yards of offense in a 46-24 victory over Idaho State. Bronson Barron, nearly flawless, completing 19 of 25 passes, 240 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Running back Joshua Dye led the ground attack with 180 yards and 2 scores, while running back Will Burns added 107 yards, including a 72-yard touchdown. Wide receivers Shane Carr and Gabe Nunez paced the receiving corps with a combined 145 yards and 2 scores. Defensively, linebacker Mason Stromstad anchored a unit that held ISU to just 23 rushing yards, highlighted by an interception by Logalema Lesse. How about that name? Logalema Lesse
Bless you.
Exactly. So good stuff there for Delane Fitzgerald in Southern Utah. That's a big win for them. Very happy for them. And,
Listen, that's a tough place to play. When you
yeah,
go up, when you go in his house, dude, that's a tough place to play. And all football aside, if you go to a ball game, it's going to be very entertaining. Uh, Bring you some pimento cheese. At halftime, their sponsor is Megaloaf, and they'll throw loaves of sourdough bread up in the bleachers. If you
I
bring you
love
some
that.
pimento cheese, yes, sir, I mean that.
I had some
It is
pimento cheese yesterday.
outstanding, outstanding. You ought to go to their ball games just to go to halftime.
I love that.
Yeah.
Throwing open loaves of bread into the
Oh,
crowd.
yeah. Well, not open. They're in little bags. I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
mean, okay.
The cheerleaders come by, instead of throwing mini footballs up into the stands, they throw sourdough bread.
Sourdough bread. You get to go home with the some sustenance, something
Yeah,
you can eat, snack on
yeah,
the way home.
yeah. If you can sneak you some pimento cheese up in that stadium, dude, it's glorious.
All right. Well, all right. We'll see what happens. Couple games that we're going to get to, Coach, that we have kind of bundled here. Let me see. Oops, a daisy. Let's go with not that one. Sorry. By the way, I was in Chattanooga all day today. I love Chattanooga, by the way. Me and my sweet Elizabeth went down to Rock City, which I had never been
Oh,
to before,
wow.
Coach. Yeah, we went down to Rock City and had a
You see all the
fantastic
states?
time. Huh?
You see all the states?
Yeah, 7 of them. You can
Yeah.
see 7 of them. But I'm about an hour and 40, about an hour and 30 minutes from Chattanooga and Ackworth, Georgia, right? It was just north of Atlanta. On the way up there, number one, Georgia State Patrol had about 19 people pulled over between Ackworth and Chattanooga. All right. No problems, though. I got there lickety split, no problem. We get up there. It's a beautiful day. I mean, it's in the mid 70s, low humidity, absolutely stunning day. We did the Rock City. We did the Point Park or whatever it is. It's like a
Oh,
battlefield
yeah.
place
Oh,
up
yeah.
there. Beautiful sits
Yeah.
up there. We looked at the Incline Railroad and all that good stuff. Then we started to make our way home. Coach, I-75. It took
Oh, yeah.
3 hours,
Oh, yeah.
double the time to get
Yeah.
home. So
Yeah.
I'm like, sweet. So she literally drops me off. She's like, go do your podcast stuff. I'm going to, because we have dogs and everything to take care of anyway. So I was rushing a little bit. So I'm a little bit, out of sorts. So I apologize, Coach. You deserve better. This podcast deserves better and all that good stuff. But
What a sweet lady, though.
she's
What a
wonderful.
sweet lady. Yeah.
She's wonderful.
What a sweet teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, that does, and she really picked me up. Okay, so sorry for all that. All right, let's get into our other football games just to kind of look at. Hampton picks up a loss at Jackson State, 28-14. It was the Tigers over the Pirates. Howard over FAMU, Coach, 10-9. 10-9. Any thoughts on that one, real quick?
Damn.
Yeah.
None. I mean, you know what? There ain't much strike in the Rattlers right now. Matter of fact, right now, what are
Only
their
9.
Garden State is 9 points, please. They're no longer the Rattlers. They're just going to be the little green Garden Snakes until they win again.
Yeah, it wasn't a good performance. 10-9, they
No,
lose.
not at all.
Yeah, 10-9, they lose. ETSU over Murray State, 45-17. This is the big one. A ranked opponent, Mercer, had their game last week canceled because of storms and stuff. They lose to Presbyterian. This is a non-scholarship football program. 15-10, Coach. What?
Ain't no way. Ain't no
What?
way. Ain't no way. I wish that I was a fly in the locker room. I bet that bus trip. Well, ain't no way. I cannot understand how that happens, unless they just absolutely did not prepare for them. But I would think with the roster and the athletes that Mercer's got, 10 points. Come on, guys. I have no words. I have no
Well,
words.
Well, they play Wofford this coming weekend. Hey, I don't have any faith in what's going on there at Mercer. Mike James has got to do better. This team can't, they were getting their tails kicked by UC Davis. Right now, we don't even know if UC Davis is that good. They almost got beat by Utah Tech.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's I don't, I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand how Mercer is that inconsistent. That I don't know. I don't understand it. If somebody called the show or write into the show or something like that and explain it to me, maybe I can take it up that next week. But I do not understand how they put with the wide receivers that they have, with the skill position that they have, to only put up 10 points. That's the equivalent to laying an egg to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm looking at the stats right now. 113 to 83 yards, 87 yards on the ground, 154 yards through the air, 241 yards total. They averaged 4 yards per play.
Hey, and congratulations to the Presbyterian kids that fought their tails off and that went up and took that giant down. That has to be the best win for that program in 10 years.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take anything away from those guys.
No,
they
of course
had
not.
to come out and punch Mercer in the mouth and punched him, 15 times, and literally. So congratulations to them.
Absolutely. All right. The final game here on this bundle is Sacramento State and South Dakota State. This was not a very good football game. The Jackrabbits picked up the win 20-3 over Sac State. And that go-go offense didn't go there, Coach. Not sure what's going to be going on there, but obviously South Dakota State's a quality opponent. Their defense is going to be good. This is not a barometer of what the season might look like for Sacramento State's offense, but didn't compete.
Yeah. Hey, I wish that they had played. I think we said this on the last show. I wish that this was the third or fourth game into the season. Sacramento State should have played Presbyterian, or you know what, hell, maybe they should have played Mercer before this particular game and got some of the kinks worked out. It's that particular offense, all the intricacies that go along with it. It takes a little while to get on time, and you're going up against one of the best FCS teams in the country, and literally they just shut them down. There was it was tough from breaking the huddle.
Yeah. A couple more games we want to look at is an FBS win for Austin Peay, 34-14 over Middle Tennessee. Eastern Washington and Incarnate Word, it was a 10-point win for Incarnate Word. They extended its home win streak with that win, and it was quarterback Richard Torres with sharp 332 yards passing, highlighted by 75-yard touchdown strike to wide receiver James Garcia, finished with 146 yards receiving. Running back Harlan Dixon added 75 yards and 2 scores on the ground. The Cardinals overcame a pair of Eastern Washington touchdowns off turnovers to regain control with a late first-half field goal and second-half defensive stand. The victory keeps UIW's home dominance intact while highlighting offensive firepower. Big win for them. Returning. And then how about our friends at University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, 66-0 over Sol Ross. Don't know what school that is, but they did pick up a win. It's their first win in program history. They a brand new football program, the University Rio Grande Valley, 66-0. Congratulations to them, and good things hopefully coming for that football program as they become competitive. Just your thoughts real quick on Austin Peay and Middle Tennessee's. You're in that region. What do you think?
Big win for Austin Peay. It's all over the news around here. Coach Ferris has got things going in the right direction up in Clarksville. I will say UIW, that was a good win for them. It kind of cements what we think about Eastern Washington. And what I would do is I would encourage my friends and our listeners to find some video on the Vaqueros. And any touchdown call that you can hear is an absolute jewel.
Really?
It is really cool to hear them say touchdown vaqueros.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
They had
we had
and
Jonah
had
Goldberg on. I think he's calling the games, right?
he may be. Fantastic atmosphere. I think they said
Wonderful.
they had 12,000 inside the building and maybe 8,000 outside of the building still tailgating.
Well, Austin Peay plays UGA this weekend, Coach, so maybe they can pick up another FBS win.
Well, you know what? They've got a better chance. UGA would rather have MTSU on their schedule, I would say.
Yeah.
Listen. Jeff Ferris, come from Duke. I can't remember where he went after Duke. He's a young guy. He's got fantastic offense. He's got fantastic ideas. He's got a good program. I don't think that they're going to beat Georgia, but I don't think they're going to get embarrassed by Georgia either. I would expect them to put 2 or 3 touchdowns on the board.
Hey, let's go through our conference players of the week. And for the Big Sky Conference, it was Ty Diefenbach from Cal Poly. His Mustang debut, transfer quarterback, threw for 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, added 69 yards rushing, and a score totaling 300 yards in a 41-17 win over South Dakota. Defense, Rex Connors for UC Davis. The Big Sky preseason MVP posted 15 tackles, a pass breakup, leading a defensive stand that fueled UC Davis's 31-24 comeback over Utah Tech. I have a sneeze brewing, so if it happens, I apologize. Here it comes. Wait.
There it is.
No, hang on.
Close.
All right. I'm looking at the light. Special teams, Landon Ogles, punter from Eastern Washington, averaged 42.3 yards on 7 punts versus UIW, including a career-long 72-yarder and 3 punts over 50 yards. Congratulations to that young man. All right, our Big South OVC players of the week. Nate Hampton, quarterback of Gardner Webb, accounted for 395 yards and 6 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 2 passing, and that 52-45 comeback win over a ranked opponent, Western Carolina. Defensive Jamar Young, Gardner Webb linebacker, recorded 11 tackles. We talked about him just a little bit. Pivotal strip sack in Gardner Webb's stunning road win. Special teams, Trey Holloway, the punt returner from Tennessee Tech, scored on a 53-yard punt return, added 119 all-purpose yards in Texas Tech's 65-0 rout of Cumberland. CAA, that sneeze is still hanging around. Offensive player of the week, Gavin Nelson, wide receiver from Monmouth, 176 yards, 3 touchdown catches, sparking Monmouth's 42-39 comeback win over Colgate. I think Colgate's going to be a good football program. They had a great recruiting summer, by the way, just to throw that out there. Defense, Joshua Isaiah, linebacker from North Carolina A&T, 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a key interception to keep the Aggies' narrow loss over with Tennessee State, 24-21. Special teams, Caden Williams for Towson was 2 for 2 on field goal tries, also included a 50-yarder plus 3 PATs in a 27-7 win at Norfolk State. Poor Michael Vick. I really wanted him to do well. They did not. They did not look very good at all. All right, our MEAC players of the week: Marquis Gillis, the running back from Delaware State, ran for 123 yards and caught 39-yard touchdown in a strong showing versus Delaware. Quentin Johnson, linebacker at Delaware State, posted 15 tackles, 5 solo in the Hornets battle against Delaware. Congratulations for Coach Deshaun Jackson in his debut. There we go. They had a rookie. That should be not special teams. They do rookie of the week. That's not special teams. Randon Nauden, running back from Morgan State, earned top freshman honors after a standout debut. Their specialist was Matt Concord of Howard for his special teams impact. That's all it said on their website. So what do I know? All right, Valley, you go. Ples Lawrence, the running back for Indiana State, totaled 225 yards, 133 rushing, 92 receiving, 3 touchdowns, and a 41-24 win over McKendree. Never heard of them. Defense, Dathan Hickory out of Youngstown State. The defensive back, his YSU debut, notched 13 tackles and interception and a forced fumble with a recovery. Special teams, Sebastian Lopez, the place kicker for Indiana State. The Sycamores, perfect on 2 field goals, 40 and 28. Also had 5 PATs while adding 6 touchbacks. So good stuff there out of Indiana State. The NEC honored A.J. Duffy, the quarterback out of New Haven. That's a new FCS program. Threw for 377 yards and 2 touchdowns in New Haven's first ever Division I game. Defense, Gino Calgaro, the linebacker from St. Francis, collected 12 tackles, 2 tackles for loss against FBS foe Louisiana Monroe. And it was co-special teams players of the week for Will Lynch and Jason Jenkins. Will Lynch out of LIU averaged 42 yards per punt, and Jason Jenkins from Robert Morris punted 11 times and hit a 36-yard field goal at West Virginia. So that was good for them. Patriot League. I'm struggling here, Coach. All right. Patriot League, it was Trevon Sanders from Colgate. The wide receiver led all FCS with 223 yards receiving and 13 catches with 2 touchdowns versus Monmouth. Defense, Timer Wynn out of Colgate. The defensive back had 2 interceptions, 6 tackles against the Hawks. And special teams, Elijah Carson. He had a returned 96-yard kickoff return for Holy Cross against NIU. And what's next? I've already forgotten. Southern Conference is what we're going to next. Devontae Houston, the running back out of ETSU, rushed for 128 yards, 2 touchdowns in that 45-17 win over Murray State. Defense, Talon Blaylock, the defensive back out of Furman, scored on a pick 6 and added 6 tackles in a 23-21 win over William and Mary. Ian Williams, the place kicker, hit 3 field goals, including a 50-yarder, punted 6 times as well. And UAC, Coach, it was Joshua Dye from Southern U, the running back, replacing Targy Lamson, rushed for 28 yards, 28 times, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 6.4 yards per carry. Cassius Kearns, the defensive back out of Tarleton State, also recorded 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, 4 tackles in that double overtime win at Army. And Tarleton sweeps the awards with Brad Larson. The kicker went 3 for 3 on field goals, including a double overtime game winner at Army. That is what you've got for the players of the week. All right, you ready to talk about this new top 25 real quick? We're just about 6 minutes over, Coach, on where we wanted to be, but let's talk about this top 25. You see it scrolling down there. NDSU is first, Montana State second, third, South Dakota State, UIW, South Dakota, Illinois State, UC Davis drops to number 7, Tarleton State 8, Montana 9, Rhode Island 10. Mercer is still number 11. They lost to Presbyterian College. Coach,
Well,
what are we doing?
you know what? If they get beat by 30 this weekend, they'll move up into the top 5, I'd imagine.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
You know what? You can't blame Mercer. They didn't vote for themselves. I don't know what we're looking at from a voting perspective, especially. Well, you know what? I'll let you go on and finish. There's 1 or 2 omissions that I think should be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Stats Perform poll, and that's what I'm going to look at here, Mercer drops down to number 23, still ranked. Sacramento State 18th, still ranked. 0-1 teams that are ranked right now. Montana State was the FBS loss. South Dakota, FBS loss. Illinois State, FBS loss. Idaho, FBS loss. And Abilene Christian, FBS loss. Sac State, FCS loss. Northern Arizona, FBS loss. North Dakota, FBS loss. Mercer, non-scholarship football.
Right.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I know it's tricky. But what are we doing here?
I mean, you could pay attention though. You know, where's Austin Peay in that group? Austin
receiving votes.
Yeah,
Western Carolina dropped out. Stony Brook dropped out. Richmond dropped out.
Where is Holy Cross? I mean, I know they lost, but Holy Cross should be receiving votes.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I don't want to complain about stuff that I don't do. I hadn't been invited to vote in the top 25, but I cannot imagine anybody that's looking at it. I'd like for them to explain it. Matter of fact, a couple of people went online and they posted what their top 25 look like. I'd like for everybody that voted to post what they did. I'd like to see the work because somebody's not, I don't know how she said it. Somebody's not doing their job.
Yeah. Well, it's listen, these things don't matter, right? They don't really matter. Let's get into FCS play, but I think we saw it with Weber State a couple years ago. It's not the notoriety of the program that matters here in essentially week number 2. And I understand you had a canceled game against UC Davis. Mercer played well in the second half. They actually came back in the second quarter, rather. They actually came back and made it a football game. They did not look good in the first half. So, and clearly they didn't look good against Presbyterian, a non-scholarship football program. So Mike Jacobs got some work to do there at Mercer. And by the way, we want Mercer to be a good football program. We're in the South. We kind of talk about, all the glory goes to the Montana and the Dakota schools and the West Coast teams. We need Mercer to be good. We need Western Carolina to be good. We want those. That's why we had Cris Reisert on. We want Gardner Webb to be good. We want Wofford to be good. So Furman to be good. Mercer's too good of a program to let that happen, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand it, and there's no sense in continuing to beat a dead horse over it. But you know what? I'm going to challenge the voters to take some pride, take a little pride in your job, and let's if it doesn't matter, then don't do it.
Yeah,
because everything does matter, or to me it is. You'll get to the end of the year, and Mercer's at 7-5. Maybe might get into the tournament over another deserving team just because they've been ranked all year long, knowing good and well that loss to Presbyterian is a tough one. If you're going to be consistent about it, there should be a team from the Pioneer League that's ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, you got to wonder. Why not? You just beat they were number 11 going into that contest.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
and I get it. There ain't no real rhyme or reason to it. That's a rant over. How's that?
Yeah. All right. Well, give me real quick your best win of the week, and kind of putting you on the spot here. What's your best win of the week for the FCS?
Well, it'd have to be Austin P over MTSU. That's my that'd be my best FCS to FBS win, or that's my best FCS win.
All right.
I think that literally, I think that's the best one of the year.
I'm gonna go West Georgia over Samford. I think that was a very, very quality win. Joel Taylor, the head coach over there, is doing some big things. Brought in some good talent. So that's my best win. Hey, Brandon couldn't join us. Both his kiddos have his full attention, and that's the way it should be. So we hope to have Brandon back later on this week as we do a preview of week number 2 here in the FCS. We still have some of those FCS, FBS matchups, but for the most part, we're going to start getting into that FCS. We'll have more coaches and players and stuff as we go. I do apologize for the rushing around, and Coach, I do believe that you guys deserve better. I should have been more prepared, but I certainly enjoyed the day with that beautiful girl I got.
Dude, it's a great show. Like I said, teamwork makes the dream work. I enjoy coming on every week.
All right, Coach.
You make it good for me to come on.
Well, you're the best. Listen, I do have to say, like and subscribe. We had great fan interaction. We're going to try and do some live shows coming up and have some real live interaction. But you have to like and subscribe our show. Click the like, click the subscribe. It's all free. Like, subscribe. It just tells you when we're on. And then if you're listening on Spotify or watching on Spotify, give us a review. We really want to know your thoughts so we can make this show better. I know I was a mess today, but that's just the way it is sometimes. But Coach Jackson, I do appreciate it. You got anything special coming up this week?
We're going to travel back to Richmond this week. Eastern Kentucky opens up their home schedule against Houston Christian, so I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Good. Well, I was at Georgia Tech all weekend, so I hope I get a chance to watch some more football this weekend. That's my plan. All right, well, this has been the FCS Checkdown. Really want to appreciate Gardner Webb's head coach, Cris Reisert, for joining us. And, big win for his program as well. I guess that probably should have been our number one in the game since he came on the show. But
that was my second choice.
Yeah, big win for Gardner Webb. Congratulations to them. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Coach Reisert. We hope to talk to you later on this week. For Coach Jackson, I'm Nathan McCreary. We're going to say so long, sign off here from the FCS Checkdown. We'll see you later on this week. This is the FCS Checkdown. Let's go. Oh.